And we are, of course, live on the big one, the internet phone-in. Friday night, nothing gets past me. So much to talk about, so little time to do it in. Get to the telephones, I say, because it won't be long before we are chit-chatting. Lots to talk about tonight. And as I say, the time will just fly. We've only got 1 hour. We have to finish at 11 o'clock sharp. So get your telephones. You'll see the number in front of you. Good evening. Hello to all our TikTokers tonight. Hello, you're live in Scottish Phone-In. Who's that?
Hello, Scottie. It's Kareem.
Ah, Kareem. Well done, sir. Fantastic. I've had 1 or 2 nutcases on tonight, so there's been a few numbers blocked.
Oh, good. Have you been on earlier?
No, I was on TikTok live. And then somebody was trying to phone in, so it was just very, very interesting. Fantastic stuff. Welcome. How are you? They're saying on TikTok. All the TikTokers are joining us now, Kareem.
Hello, TikTokers.
Welcome. This is Kareem TikTokers. Say welcome to him. You're watching Scottie McCLUE's internet phone-in on Friday night, 10 o'clock until 11. And there's somebody saying, I'm from Scotland too. But they've said, I'm from Scotland. Isn't that good? Now then, Kareem, thank you for sending me today that thing about the monarchy in Scotland. I wish these half-wits would give up because they're going to damage independence.
I hope you don't mind, but I cut and paste what you wrote because on that same Facebook group, another picture came up and I just copied and pasted what you put into the comments.
No, I don't mind at all, Kareem. No problem at all. I mean, get that round because it's serious stuff, you know.
Oh, what I don't understand is that group it's not just one group. It's like all yes groups, all yes movements that come together and they go on the walks. So I don't know if that was somebody from the group that put that in. I don't know if that was somebody like anybody just posting that picture and other people. But what was interesting, Scottie, there were people that were not for it as well, and they were agreeing with your comment and liking it, and other people making comments to stop it as well.
All right, so it got a good reaction, Kareem. I haven't managed to find it again.
I had a look, and other people agreed as well. You've obviously got the numpties, as you know, that don't know anything about it.
No, they don't understand how it goes. They just go, get these freeloaders out of here, because they don't understand how the whole thing operates. You know, and it really worries me because it makes the nationalists look very amateurish and very lacking in intelligence. And I don't think that's the case.
I think for every group, you're always got the numpties that attach themselves to it.
Yes.
But it was they're under one banner as the group is. That's the group. That's all. It's not just one little group. It's lots of groups that all come together.
Lots of groups coming together. Yeah. Well, they need to. They need to have a nice, strong cause. This is why we want independence, not just to get away from the Tories or get away from Westminster, whatever. It's actually saying we want to take charge of our own economy. Now, to do that, you must give the impression that you are highly intelligent, sensible, mature people who could handle independence.
I think the politicians, I think will do a very good job regardless. I think if you have the SNP down negotiating at the table down south, we should have sent them when they were dealing with Brexit because they've gotten a better deal, but I would rather have Nicola Sturgeon and the rest down fighting, no, we want this, and that's it. But that certain groups, I actually think that you might get some of these unionists that attach themselves to the yes groups to try and cause a bit of trouble. I can see.
I wouldn't be surprised. A bit of what we used to call dark propaganda.
Yeah. Because I just think at the moment, as you know, most polls that are coming out now, yes, are in the lead. the Tory government done a study which the SNP took them to court. The court said that they must release the documents, and the Tories have still not released it. They do not want people to see whatever the research was.
Well, they never have. I mean, they didn't want us to see Gavin McCLUE's fabulous report in 1975, when it showed you just how much Westminster had squirreled away from Scotland.
Yep. And,
you know, I mean, that's always been the panic. Scotland is a very, very wealthy country. It's a cash cow for Westminster. Queen Anne realised this, and she managed to, you know, bribe them 313 years ago.
Yeah. And what disappoints me, as I spoke to you yesterday, Scottie, was obviously when I had that run-in with that silly woman. Just absolutely, I think what really annoyed me the most was there was no pride. It was as if Scotland is just a second-class, lower-class country, and you just let Westminster rule you. And I thought, this is a fellow Scot, you know, and just having no pride in their own country, can't look at the facts, can't see that as an independent country, we'll do damn fine.
Yes.
I respect the fact that we have unionists and they will fight tooth and nail for their cause. But at the end of the
yes,
day,
but I mean, there has never, ever been a proper cognitive de facto argument made for the union, because the union is built on sand. So even although it's very kind of you to say the unionists will fight for their cause, they don't have a cause apart from saying, can we please keep a vice-like grip on Scotland's cash? That's their only cause. There is no de facto for saying, well, it's better for Scotland to stay joined to Westminster because it actually isn't economically. I mean, as you know, I'm apolitical. I don't have any axe to grind. I don't have any chips on my shoulder. I'm just purely looking at the economics. I saw what Margaret Thatcher did to Scotland in the late 70s, 80s, and early 90s. And what I'm actually saying is, you know, we need to repair this. And to do that, we need to hang on to an extra £48 billion of cash and start doing up Greenock and Paisley and Kilmarnock and Hamilton and Airdrie and Wishaw and Stirling and Dundee and Aberdeen and Perth, etc., etc. We need to be subsidising ferries to the Western Isles. We need to have, you know, air services to the Western Isles. We need to rebuild the Scottish economy. Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing political in that. It's purely economic.
Yeah, and I think anybody from any party should be able to put their party political beliefs to the side and just, well, look, this is the economy. It doesn't matter who you support. You want the economy to do well.
Yes.
You want there to be jobs.
That's all I'm interested in, is people in Scotland doing better. Getting a fair crack at the whip, so we don't have lost generations. I mean, they're going absolutely berserk about the fact that young people have lost a year with the pandemic. But young people have lost 50 years with the way Scotland's been treated.
No, it's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
You know,
so to ask you the other time about when we said that Westminster, if they lose Scotland, obviously mostly it's to do with the oil, etc. I didn't know about Northern Ireland, but you said it was to do with a lot of the ports around Northern Ireland. That's why they hang on to Northern Ireland.
Well, no, Northern Ireland, I don't think is such a good investment as Scotland. Do you know what I mean? And they've thrown Northern Ireland under a bus with Brexit.
Right.
You see, but Northern Ireland was purely 100 years ago next year, the annexation of 6 counties of Ireland, who wanted to stay under the protection of the Crown.
Right, okay.
You see, because Ireland has got such a checkered history, and Ulster is not 6 counties. Ulster is either 8 or 9 counties and is an ancient kingdom. So you see, you've got people, what the Irish people need to do is not chuck their past, but not try and relive it every day, and not be filled with dislike and hatred that they've had their heads stuffed with. That's what's blocking the advancing. If you had very clear terms and you said, Westminster, we have absolutely nothing against you per se, but you're not helping Scotland economically. You know, you're taking too much dosh for yourself.
What does Wales have? I don't know much about Wales.
Well, Wales, again, is very, very rich in resources in terms of coal and, you know, iron and all these sort of things. But you see, I mean, I'll tell you what I had a thought today. Last week, I got told Britain used to trade very, very big on wool. So in the very early 1800s, the money, agrarian revolution, the land, agriculture, the money was in the countryside. So the early 1800s, you know, you still had the money in the countryside, because the Industrial Revolution, although it started in the 1780s, 1790s, it didn't really get going, but it lasted 150 years. And we're talking steel, coal, iron, railways, cities, mining, more coal for more steel, for more iron, to build more ships, because we're an island, and on goes the cycle. But that's your Industrial Revolution, your Agrarian Revolution. We were absolutely massive in exporting woolen and leather goods. Where does wool and leather come from? The countryside, from the sheep, from the cows, etc., etc., skins, all these sort of things. So we were very big in exporting that. Now, right now, wool is so worthless that people are sending it to landfill. Now, we've got a problem coming up. They're going to charge more for gas and electricity because they can't get their act together. When I was a wee boy, each town had its own gas. And they switched off town gas and went to North Sea gas. Now, you had the local gas board, and I don't know, you'd be too young to remember, Kareem, but there were great big things called gasometers. You would see there was a huge one out in the M8, and these things filled with gas. They floated on gas on the upside down principle, and you would see them rising and lowering as the supply went down. Then they would rise again as more gas was manufactured. So Glasgow had its own gas board, and the gas lamps came in late 1800s, early 1900s. Then you had electricity coming in as well. Yeah, so all your street lights were gas. Even when I moved into my first flat, Leary the lamp lighter would come round and light the gas in the close every night in the West End of Glasgow. So you know, you would see it. So there was a lot of gas lamps in all the tenements. If you raised your floorboards, you'd see the gas pipes all screwed up and capped off for the gas lighting. And it was beautiful. It hissed. And you could see all the railway stations had it up until the 60s and 70s. Gas lighting. And it came from the town gas. So we made our own gas. So there would be none of this. The wholesale price has gone up. You see, because you are making it yourself. Now, point I'm making here, Kareem, we think, right, okay, we can't afford to heat our houses to these standards if they're going to charge us more money. Let's get our wool and spin ourselves a few thick jumpers, because I can assure you, if you're sitting in hand-knitted wool socks with woolen trousers, right, and a couple of big woolly jumpers and a woolly hat, you will not be cold. And woolen gloves. Now, once you stick that lot on, you'll soon save yourself a couple of £100. And they can say to the companies, well, don't worry, you shove the price up as much as you like, because we'll no be needing it.
I think it's just, I think it's great. I mean, I had to collect my parents today from the airport. They came back from Spain, and they were joking. They're saying that their gas and electricity changes in a month's time. And I said, well, it's a very bad time to be looking for gas and electricity, obviously with the prices going up.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, but I mean, you know, there are these alternatives. I mean, I'm just looking here on TikTok while you're on, Kareem.
Yeah.
So there we are. There's still one in Wells Street in Paisley, says Bob's. So fantastic stuff. Who else have we got here? Mummy Paws. What happened to Ofgem? They're supposed to monitor the sky-high prices. They're still doing it, but they're going to move the cap, apparently. The gas was made by burning coal and extraction through mercury. Well, I don't think mercury would go very well down at the conference, but burning coal, we've still got plenty of coal. Now, I know we're having to be carbon-free and all that sort of stuff, but if it comes to paying the electricity and gas board or having a lovely wee coal fire, you know?
Is there not a way to make coal like not not as, what's the word I'm looking for, like in terms of pollution? Is there not cleaner ways to use coal?
Well, yes, there is. I mean, you know, you can burn it in cleaner ways, more efficient and effective ways. You see, all the steamships, all your transport, your railways, and your Clyde steamers were all coal fired.
Right.
And the coal came from round about you. It came from Lanarkshire. It came from Ayrshire. It came from just about everywhere in Scotland, Stirlingshire, you know, Falkirk, great coal mines there.
Yeah, and that's good for those local economies.
Yeah, and what happened? The railways brought it. They filled themselves up with coal wagons. They ran themselves on water and burning coal. Your only problem is, in those days, a steam engine is a very, very inefficient thing, whereas an electrical engine is about 85% efficient. Incredible, isn't it? But we had all that stuff. That's why companies like Yarrows, that build all the naval ships, moved up from London. They were a London company. And when you go out, I mean, maybe said this before, but when you go out walking the dogs at Mugduck, you'll come to Craigend Castle. That was the Yarrows house.
Right, okay, big castle there. Right.
You see, so it's all about us. And there was, you know, the Clyde is deep and fairly safe, superb for building ships, and you could get the iron for the steel locally. Your huge steel works at Ravenscraig in central Scotland, at Motherwell there.
Yeah, it's like a sleeping giant, isn't it?
Oh, it was fantastic because we were self-sufficient. So there was none of this saying, oh, yes, the wholesale price of gas will have to go to Russia and that. You think, no. We do all our own gas in Scotland. We do our own wool. We do our own threads. Clarks and Coates at Paisley did all the threads for the world. Singers at Clydebank did the sewing machines so that everybody in the house could make you a pair of trousers.
It's a sleeping giant, and you know, I think these are all things, if we do become independent, that we need to awaken.
We need to get back at looking. Let's use. We know we've got the resources. We know they've got. You know, they're of absolutely infinity in terms of value, and we know that Scotland could just become boomtown.
It could, you know. Hoping. Well, listen, Scottie, thank you very much for taking my call. We'll let some other people come on.
Your call's superb.
And I'll say DINKY-DOO.
DINKY-DOO to you, Kareem. We'll catch up tomorrow night.
Bye-bye now.
Ta-ra! There we are. What a fantastic guy. Right, what have we got here, folks? Here's the chat. DINKY-DOO, lasses, beachy, DINKY-DOO, Scottie. Hello, all. Hello, there's a Scottie. Scott from Drumchapel. You're live on Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Oh, my God. Thank bloody hell he's off that stupid phone line. Hello?
What are you like? I beg your pardon. That's one of our finest callers.
Listen to me.
Listen to me, matey boy. Is that matey boy?
It is matey boy.
Yes, matey boy. You listen to me. We are educating and informing the nation here. So don't you come on and start cheeking up.
Not for 20 minutes. Not for
18 minutes.
Listen, buddy, I came back from Clare College. I was invited down to an afternoon organ recital in Clare College.
Oh, fantastic.
You'd be too thick to know, because Clare is.
No, I know Cambridge. I know it very, very well. Beautiful college. Lovely organ. All panelled. Ha ha ha. Ha, that sorted you out, matey.
Right.
That'll stop you farting in church.
Just listen up.
Yes. That sorted you out, isn't it?
Just pin back your ears.
Listen to this. Culenio says he's going to tell you to shut your mouth soon. I can feel it.
Listen. Okay?
Go on. This had better be good after you chicking up. Have you apologised to Kareem?
I will not be apologising to Kareem. He talks shit.
He talks absolute 100% common sense.
No. And I'll tell you, while we're on the subject, I was listening in when I was in Cambridge. We were sipping a few ports, and I was telling my college, God rest Stephen Cleobury. Don't know if you know Stephen Cleobury.
Yes.
You know Stephen Cleobury. He was the
Stephen died. I think he had an accident with his bicycle. Stephen Cleobury was the director of music for King's College, Cambridge.
You know too much.
I can tell you. Yes, indeed. I know exactly who you mean.
Right, pin back your
A marvellous, marvellous musician. I was so sorry to hear of his passing.
He was, and I was fortunate enough to be tutored by Sir Philip Ledger.
I remember Philip as well. Philip was the principal of the Royal Scottish Academy after Sir David Lumsden.
I don't know how you know that.
I've got Philip Ledger. I think he's playing the organ, the Cuckoo and the Nightingale handle.
He does indeed, yes. Now, let's get back to basics.
Am I right?
Yes, you are right.
Yes, I remember these people. The great Sir David Lumsden, I knew him very well.
David Lumsden was fantastic.
Yes.
Yes.
And his son is the organist of Winchester Cathedral.
Yes, and now it's been taken over by Sir George McPhee from Paisley.
Yes, indeed.
Now, listen, I propose a couple of things. If you can just listen to me, just pin back your lugs just now. No more than 5 minutes per caller. Right,
so you think I should ration Kareem to 5? What about 10 minutes for Kareem?
No, 5 minutes. But
5 minutes.
I have to say to you, and I am loath to tell you, the caller from yesterday regarding the Margaret Thatcher, wonderful idea.
Which one? A statue of Margaret Thatcher in Scotland? Yes.
Absolutely.
Where would you think that statue should be placed in Scotland?
It should be in George Square.
George Square. Right, I'm going to put this out to the people of Scotland who are watching the internet phone in right now. Would you like a statue of Margaret Thatcher, life-size or even much bigger?
Oh, that would be fantastic.
And would you like it in the edge of George Square or right in the centre?
The centre.
Right.
The centre. Please,
okay.
Please, yes.
So like Nelson's column in London, the centre of George Square in Glasgow should have a massive statue of Margaret Thatcher.
This is the thing, Scottie. What I was thinking about today, I listened to your full recording last night. I was up. I was listening to your show.
Yes.
It was fantastic. And the guy came on and proposed that idea. And I thought, hang on a minute. Let's take this further. Why don't we reintroduce modern history with the Thatcher years, right? So we get the councils and we get the government in Scotland to look at the fantastic history of what Margaret Thatcher did for the country, and then we maybe try and I'm just speaking out of tongue here, but I think we should have this might be just a wee bit out of people's jurisdiction, but let's have
come on, let's have it. What are you saying?
I think we should have a national St. Margaret's Day in Scotland.
St. Margaret's Day. Well, I mean, St. Margaret, of course, was very much a saint of Scotland. St. Margaret's Chapel at Edinburgh Castle.
Yes, well, I propose that we have, because Margaret, if I'm allowed to say this, had more balls than any of the other male prime ministers that we have in Scottish history. I mean, Margaret was fantastic, Scottie. She just did everything her way. She was so
well. She was backed. She was backed by a lot of very good Scots. I mean, she had Willie Whitelaw,
she was amazing.
who's the Scots Guards officer, a major in the Scots Guards. She had George Younger, I told you about last night. You know, so she had. I mean, there were a lot of very prominent Scots Tories in those days.
I think Margaret Thatcher should be an epiphany in Scotland, and I think we should actually absolutely venerate her in whatever way we feel. And there's going to be lots of
the venerable Saint Margaret. So you think she should be sanctified?
Yes. And
you think there should be a beatification?
I will compose a beautiful song.
A hymn to Saint Margaret.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, this is my day. The 1st of October. Yes, we were going to try and beatify St. Margaret Thatcher in Scotland. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. Now, listen, I'm sorry to say that you're going to get some idiots coming on tonight and saying, oh, do. I'm sorry. The woman is wonderful. Apart from that, get Kareem and everyone else off. Cap the 5 minutes, Scottie, because we need to have more people coming on. I'm sorry, Kareem is a bit, you know, he's a bit boring now. I'm sorry to say that to you.
Well, you've been on for 6 minutes now, yeah, so you've already overplayed your hand.
Shut your gob.
No, don't you tell me to shut my gob. You've already overplayed your hand, chummy.
You pin back your ears.
I've pinned back my ears and heard enough from you. I'm going to put this to the nation. I'm going to cut you off though, because you're boring as rigid now. There we are. Right, that's Matey Boy gone. Doon the Swanee. Do tell us, who have we got here? Lots and lots of lovely things. What have we got here, Kirsten DINKY-DOO? I believe the statue of Margaret Thatcher belongs in Barlinnie. The milk snatcher. Have it on a 10-foot plinth so she looks down on you, says Coelho. Well, I mean, Nelson's on more than a 10-foot plinth. This man's not been taking his loony pills, says Frittata. DINKY-DOO, everybody. Lovely to have you with us. Bye-bye. There we are. He's gone. Cut him, says Scottish TikToker. Cut him off. Loving the hat, Scottie DINKY-DOO, boss boy. Thank you, Kissy, for 72. Everybody on TikTok, get following Scottie McClue. If you want to hear the phone in, join in the phone in, then look at my TikTok bio. And just below that, you'll see a live link to the YouTube channel. Get on to the YouTube. Follow me. Follow me on Twitch, Scottie_McClue. You're listening and watching the internet phone in. Friday night, 10 till 11. You're live in Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, is that you, Scottie?
I think you do, yes.
How you doing, my man? It's Rab again.
Rab, how fantastic. Turn your background down, Rab, so we can hear you.
Sorry, I had you for there a minute ago.
Don't bother.
What I want to talk about, see that crackpot there that was on about Thatcher?
Yes.
I slapped him purple to a bit.
Right, you don't think he was correct?
No, I just want him. That's anyway. What I'm on here to talk about.
Well, that's not good. You need to think. What was it about what he was saying that you didn't like?
Oh, he's on about Thatcher.
Yes.
She's on about Ravenscraig. She shut the whole community down. Did she not?
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, she didn't help any of the working class communities. Because they weren't big Tory voters, but they are now, apparently.
But anyway, what I want to talk about, see how
supposed to be a shortage HGV driver.
Yes.
Do you not think they're rushing people into for license to get drivers? And that might cause a commotion, would it not?
What, to have the Russians in?
Not rushing into people to take driving
Or
license.
rushing people into passing their test. Well, I was very, very concerned last week because I heard that one of the things they were looking at cutting back on was learning to reverse properly.
Well,
now, come on. I mean, one of the great things about our HGV drivers...
properly, Scottie.
I know, but I watched a guy the other day and he came out of a narrow junction, pointed towards the traffic coming the other way, stopped at the lights, moved forward as much as he could, and then brought his trailer round. And I thought, what a beautiful, beautiful piece of driving. And I thought, I don't think I could do that. Eh?
You're not even listening to me.
Of course I'm listening to you.
Do you think the government are pushing too many, because of the COVID and all this carry on?
Yes.
They're pushing too many people that still got the experience to drive HGV.
Yes. I've just had Big Tam on the TikTok. He says, I'm a trucker, mate. Most of your training was spent doing practice reversing. There's your answer immediately on Scottie McClue's phone in.
Well, I can't drive a truck, Scottie, and I can't reverse it anyway, so it takes me all my time to reverse my motor when I'm driving a lorry.
See, when I drove the baker's van, right, a boy stops me one morning, he says, could you tell me where such and such a street is? I says, I can, I'm not entirely sure. It's either the first one or the second one to your right there. He goes, can you be sure, please, mate? It takes me about 3 miles to get this thing dumped.
Oh, but listen, another one. Do you like vertical blinds or the other ones? Okay.
Oh, I don't bother with vertical blinds. I just have the up and down.
Aye. The ones that shot the sideways.
Aye.
So what's the matter with vertical blinds?
I don't know. They're absolutely fine if you want to go to all that bother of putting in the tracks and everything.
But they're easy to get up, I don't know.
Vertical blinds.
Aye.
I don't know what you're talking about. Right. There we go. Off he goes. You're listening and watching Scottie McCLUE with the phone in. We've got 27 minutes of quality. There we are. What do you think of Gaelic in Scotland? Kamarahau Hakama. If you look at your TikTok videos I've just done for you, I'm an HGV1 female driver, says Kitty. Fantastic. You're live on Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Good evening, Scottie. How are you?
How are we? Who is that?
Hi, Scottie, can you hear me?
Yes, who's that?
It's Charlie.
Charlie, that's great. Always say your name, Charlie, otherwise I don't know.
No, of course. It takes me a wee bit of delay. The reason being is because I just switch my headphones and plug into the phone. But I've got
Top man, you've got us now. Lovely to hear you.
Scottie, I think, today, well, maybe yesterday or so, seen the launch of the NHS app with the passport, the COVID passport.
Yes.
And I think, yes, it's a great idea. It's absolutely a great idea. And I think, also, the media saying it's got issues, but then there's so many people going to, at one time there will be issues.
Of course.
I think people need to calm down and use it for what it is. It's an absolute license to say that you're absolutely fine, and you're going to get a multi-place, like a concert or a football game, and then use it for what it is. It's to show that you're actually protected and you're protecting everybody else around about you.
Correct.
I think everybody should just calm down.
Calm down.
Yes. Of course, it's got its teething problems, but it's because of everybody downloading it and everybody logging in at one time. These are teething problems, but it will sort itself out.
Absolutely. Yes, good indeed. We're not really going to go into discussing it because the whole purpose of the phone-in is that we leave all the pandemic stuff to mainstream media and we have a chat about the things we want to talk about.
Okay, sorry, Scott.
No, not at all. No, listen, it was good of you to raise it and you did it very well. Good point, well made.
Yes. Scottie, can I ask you then?
ask you then, what,
Yes.
what was your points tonight? Because I didn't see I didn't hear the start of your
We're
points.
discussing everything tonight. We've just had a gentleman phone us about a statue of Margaret Thatcher in George Square in Glasgow.
No, that wouldn't be acceptable.
He would like it right in the centre because he feels that she brought us kicking and screaming into the 20th century.
I don't think that's right. I mean, that would be a hate figure, really, in a sense, wouldn't it, Scottie?
Well, mind you, when they put Donald Dewar up now, Donald Dewar, you couldn't have met a nicer man, an absolute gent. And he got, when they put a statue of him up, they had to raise it higher because he was getting damaged.
That's correct. The glasses as well.
Yes, then somebody knocked his specs off and stuff. And then, of course, we've got the Duke of Wellington outside the Stirling Library, and he's got a cone in his head.
Yeah.
You know?
And the amount of people that, actually go up there, and I mean, hats off, excuse the pun, but hats off from, even climbing it and doing it. I wouldn't be doing it. It's stupid, it's silly, but that cone always ends back up there. And have you seen the animation, Scottie, where the horse's tail kind of throws it up on the head?
Oh, is that not King Billy?
No, it's Duke of Wellington.
Oh, the Duke of, now, I'm sure there's one in the Trongate, is there not, of King Billy?
I couldn't tell you. I've never seen it.
And apparently the horse's tail used to move.
Oh, Scottie, is that right in the middle of between Trongate and then in between?
The toll booth. I think between the toll booth along the Trongate there was a King Billy, or there is a King Billy.
I've never seen the statue. Do you know what? Actually, yes, you're right. It's right at the toll booth.
Yeah,
right
there's Scottish TikToker telling us King Billy's on the toll booth.
Yes.
Now you see, King Billy, he could become a figure of hate as well.
Exactly, absolutely.
I mean, he was, as a man, he was a very, very, very bad man.
Yeah, but then going back to your question as well.
But then people loved him,
Yeah, but then absolutely. But then go back to your question to myself. Do you think that a statue of Margaret Thatcher should be erected in George Square?
Well, that's the point. I think what we need to do is put it to the nation and get a few opinions. That's why we've got the phone in.
Yes, absolutely.
And if everybody agrees, if everybody on Scottie McClue's phone in, on the internet phone in, says, no, let's do it, then we can look at, raising money for Margaret Thatcher's statue.
No, absolutely, Scottie. And you know what? I actually forgot. It's your show. I shouldn't be asking you questions. You should be asking me questions.
No, you can ask me anything you like, because listen, we're just us on here. And we started this about 4 weeks ago, and it's just growing and growing and growing.
Scottie, it's doing phenomenally well. I mean, you're on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok.
We're on TikTok, we're on YouTube. I mean, the YouTube is massive, and I think anybody on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and follow. You'll get the notifications, because we're on Monday to Thursday, 9 till 10. And then on a Friday and Saturday, we're on from 10 till 11.
Absolutely. And Scottie, just to finish, I don't know why you're not in the back of a bus, but I think the way things are going, you might end up in the back of a bus.
Well, I've got a good face for the back of a bus. No, DINKY-DOO, Charlie. Lovely to hear you. Take great care of yourself.
DINKY-DOO.
And thank you for all your encouragement over the piece,
Peace out.
DINKY-DOO, la.
DINKY-DOO.
DINKY-DOO, Charlie. That's fantastic stuff. It'll end up like the Colston statue that chucked it in the drink. Oh, Kalenio, that's bad news. Now, Kitty Babe, if you say that once more, it will be a lifetime ban. We don't allow spamming. All right. Hello, you're live on Scotty's phone in. Who's that?
Hi, Scottie, yes, sexy beast.
Hey, top man. Hello, you're live on Scotty's phone in. Who's that?
Scottie, it's me, Glenn.
Glenn, how marvellous to hear you. Glenn, I wondered if you'd fallen out with us.
What do you reckon to what the police commissioner's come out with? If you
worried about were playing closed offices, Scottie, and
stop a bus and things like that.
To stop a bus, knock on a door, scream, 04999. What do you reckon to that?
Well, the problem that we've got is, as always, the minority in the world cause tremendous difficulty and damage for the majority. So we had one murderer, right, which is one murderer too much, who happened to be a serving police officer.
With me and you know what I'm talking about.
We know what you're talking about. So we had this now. You know, we can't bring that beautiful young lady back. And the evil person is going to spend the rest of his life in jail. In days gone by, he would have forfeited his life.
A life for a life, Scottie.
And that would have been the end of that. Now, it's a dreadful, dreadful situation. But then to make life very anxiety-making for everyone as a result of it.
Do you think justice system's wrong then, Scottie?
No, I think that we need to rebuild proper trust in the police. See, when I was young, the police had massive, massive respect.
Yeah.
You know, the crims were frightened of the police because the police used to take them up close and give them a thrashing.
Scottie, they're not now, are they?
Well, no, but they need to learn to be, and the police need to know that they are in the right. You heard me talk about Sir Percy Sillitoe. Now, Sir Percy Sillitoe, the Chief Constable of Glasgow, got rid of the gangs because he gave them such a thrashing that the gangs were scared stiff of the police. Now, do you know where Sir Percy Sillitoe had come from as Chief Constable? Have a guess.
Oh no, Sheffield.
Yes, he was the Chief Constable of Sheffield. Now, in those days, Sheffield, the Sheffielders, right, hard working, heavy drinking. So Yorkshiremen. So, you know, there was a lot to take on. So don't tell me that they would be for the faint-hearted. Do you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
A big, heavy, drunken steel worker on a Friday night.
This respect's working both ways with civilians and police, though, isn't it, really?
Yes.
You do get some decent, law-abiding policemen, and policewomen.
Well, no, listen, you know, 99% of the police will be outstanding public servants.
But we've got to be cautious, aren't we?
It's the 1%. It's the rotten apple in the bottom of the barrel, rotting the rest of them.
That's the one you've got to be really wary of, isn't it?
The rotten apple, you've got to watch that.
But even when it comes to that, though, it shouldn't have to be like that, should it, Scottie?
No. No, it shouldn't have to be like that. So we need to weed out the rotten apples early on. And from what I can gather, I'm not going to go into it because I don't know 100%, but from what I can gather, there were vetting challenges with this particular guy. And there's a hint that there should have been much better. Well, there's not a hint. There should have been much better vetting.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, he should have been shadowed, cleared out early, and then watched.
Should never have been allowed into the system, really.
But cleared out of the police force early doors.
Shouldn't have even got past that stage, should they?
Yeah.
I think it makes, like I said, it makes people wary really of what's on the side and who's not, doesn't it, really, to be honest?
Yep, you're absolutely right. So you know, we need to look at this across the board. There needs to be, as you say, respect working both ways. But when I was wee, if you saw the police, you just got off your mark.
Yeah, not that.
And they walked about in pairs and they would nod to you, evening. And you thought, you know?
Some still do that, aren't they?
Absolutely. Good Yorkshire policeman, you know what I'm saying?
Very few and far between, though, isn't it? That's the problem.
I can remember a policeman saying to me, you know, in Barnsley, we used to get a young lad that rang up every night and he said, "Hi, Scottie, it's Bobby Brown Pants here."
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
Do you remember him on the phone in on Hallam FM? And I was talking to a policeman, he says, "Well, you tell him, Scottie, Bobby Black Pants will be after him."
I mean, it's good to have bone-knuckling conversations to do a bit of light humour at times, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, we do need to discuss. We need to discuss these things, you know. And go on.
Choose how knuckle they are. Sometimes you've got to come to these points, ain't you?
Yeah, you've got to come to the points now. Here, before you go, Glenn, because I need to dash off, but Margaret Thatcher, a statue of her. Now, a lot of Sheffield people have been voting Tory, haven't they?
They have, yeah, quite a few, yeah.
What were they thinking of then, do you think?
They're against her, aren't they, to be honest, one or two. Some are for her, some are against her, and it's just...
Yeah. Interesting. After what she did to South Yorkshire, do you know what I mean?
She did a couple of good things for certain minorities and a few for the other sides, didn't she?
Aye.
It's just the way it goes, and it's got, you can't have your cake and eat it, can you?
You can't really laugh. Glenn, it's been a privilege as always, and I'm going to say DINKY-DOO.
Like I said, Scottie, I've just left you for a couple of nights now to get some new callers come on, but...
You're a top man.
They tend to... They're still being a little bit cagey, aren't they? I mean,
what do you think about them saying that you know, the likes of Kareem should be cut down to 5 minutes?
If he wants to phone, let him.
Absolutely. My feeling is if you can get through, you deserve to get on.
Exactly. If they've got enough mouth on it to say what they want to say, phone up.
Absolutely. Good for you, Glenn. DINKY-DOO la.
DINKY-DOO, take it easy, Scottie.
Look after your son. See the la. See the top man. You're live on Scottish Phone In. Who's that?
Boy, how are you?
Hello?
Ni hao.
Ni hao, han hao, George.
How are you, man?
Great. We can't hear you very clearly, George. Can you speak into your mic?
How are you?
Brilliant. Better for hearing you.
Yeah, long time no speak, you know?
Yes. How did you manage to find us? That's superb.
Oh, I care for you. Don't worry.
Wonderful. And listen, have you survived the pandemic business-wise?
You know?
What's that, George?
There's never a moment of time that you can't miss from hearing your voice.
Oh, no, you need to hear Scottie McCLUE. Now, George, and we need to hear you. We need to hear you. Have you survived the pandemic business-wise?
Yes, marvelous.
Good man.
Good man.
You're a great man, George. That's fantastic.
I've been so busy working here. I've been so busy working in the show.
You've been so busy working. Well, you know where we are now.
Yeah, I was in Glasgow as well.
All right.
Yeah, then I went to Lanark for 2 days.
Wonderful.
Newcastle for 1 month.
Wonderful. I love it.
Then I was in Edinburgh for a month and a half.
Yep.
With a show.
Wow.
You know?
You're a great man, George.
We even had them in the kilt of the Scottish tradition.
The Scottish tradition.
Yeah, we made them sing Rock Woman, you know?
Oh, wow. We love it.
And we said, we miss you as well, you know? I told them about you, you know?
Fantastic. George, this is a privilege to hear you. I'm going to press on just now, but we'll catch up soon.
Yes, we will. Okay.
Take care of your dear self and DINKY-DOO. DINKY-DOO, George. That's a great guy. That's George from Edinburgh. He used to phone the phone-ins all the time and he's managed to find us. Can't wait for independence, says Ur Wally. Right. You're live on Scottish Phone In. Who's that?
Hello?
Hello?
Sorry, I had to just extract my...
No, listen, you've got a right to call twice. We did agree. And you're thinking everybody should be 5 minutes limit.
Yes. Now, I've come up with a musical composition.
Right.
And the composition will be Hail Glory, St. Margaret of Scotland, Ova Maria.
Right, wait a minute. Hail Glory, St. Margaret of Scotland.
O Maria.
Oh, Maria. Now, the only thing is, copyright-wise, there's nothing in here that's going to be a problem.
Shut your gob just now, buddy. This will be the Scottish national anthem that I will be composing.
Right. You're going to compose the Scottish national anthem live on TikTok, YouTube, yes, Facebook, LinkedIn Live, Twitch, Scottie_McCLUE.
Yeah, because no one's recognition the fantastic work that Lady Thatcher. I mean, Lady Thatcher was fantastic. She was absolutely fantastic.
Where does your adoration for Lady Thatcher come from? What did she do that you thought was so good for Scotland?
Yeah, good point, and I will answer that very briefly.
Right.
The point was that what the decisions that she made in the throne that she was.
We've got somebody watching from Ballymena in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, that she had more, I said to you before, she had more balls than the male prime ministers in the entire history. I think that she was really adamant. I think she took care of the country. She was fantastic. She had Dennis. Dennis was a fantastic husband.
He was actually. Dennis Thatcher is a great character. The only thing is, she sold off part of the industry in the Clyde to a company that he was involved in. And it was a knockdown price, so I believe.
I can't comment on that one, Scottie, because I wasn't sure about that history.
Right. No, I'm just dropping that into the mix. You know, he was a fantastic guy, but she was obviously looking after her own, you know.
Yeah, well, you always like to do these things to try and upset me, because you seem to think you're more credible than me, you.
Well, I probably am more credible than you in a lot of ways. But I think you're more credible than me in at the highest echelons of music and the charts.
Well, this is not the platform to.
We have a different kind of credibility, you and I.
Well, yeah.
I respect your fine knowledge, but I'm very interested in your adoration of Lady Margaret Thatcher. You want her sanctified and beatified.
Soul of my Saviour.
Soul of my Saviour?
I think Margaret Thatcher was absolutely wonderful, and to condemn her.
Wash me in the water flowing from thy side.
Wash me from, yes, sanctify me, yes, yeah, exactly, fantastic.
Yes.
I don't want to intrude on the 5 minutes because I know that there's lots of That's the one.
See, I'm not just an athlete, you know.
Oh, I didn't realise you do that.
I'm a black belt in karaoke.
Well, I'm going to just leave you just now, buddy, because I want you to help. I just basically say to you that Margaret Thatcher is a fantastic, wonderful woman.
Right.
And everyone.
I will put this to the people of Scotland to see if they agree with you, if they have the same enthusiasm for Margaret Thatcher.
Right, buddy boy, and just you get practicing, okay? I will see you later.
Dinky-Doo, Lala. Fantastic stuff. Right. That's one of the country's finest musicians. You're live on Scottish Phone-In. Who's that?
Hello, this is Derek.
Derek, how are we?
I'm good. Listen, I was the one who phoned last night and said Margaret Thatcher statue in Scotland.
Well, you've started something on Scottie McClue's Phone-In, Derek, because they want a full height or double-sized statue right in the centre of George Square in Glasgow.
Oh, well, I've come goodies as well
Right.
tonight.
Go on, Derek.
Yep, number one, in Scotland, I reckon they should pay more income tax.
We already do.
Yeah. And number two, they should ban whiskey.
Ban whiskey.
Yeah. Let's upset the buggers.
Well, I don't think we should be doing that, Derek, so I'll say dinky-do to you. There we are. Off he jolly well goes. Now then, can't wait for independence, Azur Willie. Fantastic stuff. Who we got here? The top hat for the Orange Order, says Jack. Oh, come on. Come on, come on. He's stumped. Good on you, Scottie. What a mug. Right. You're live with Scotty's phone in. Who's that?
Hello, Scottie. It's Kareem. I'm using my second call.
Kareem, of course you could use your second call. Kareem, I don't know if you've heard tonight, but we've had a couple of people saying that you're on far too long.
I heard the person earlier on and I had to laugh.
I don't think you are, because I'm responsible for keeping you on sometimes because we have so much to discuss.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, I don't need to phone in. If people are bored with me, that's fine. I just phone in for conversation with yourself.
Right, well, I've just had Methadone Mick on here saying Kareem's a wee legend.
Oh.
And then I've had Scottish TikToker saying, yes, Kareem's always too long.
Right. Okay.
Now, what I like about this is it seems that you've divided and ruled.
I don't know what to say. I think the way I see it is you can't please everybody.
You'll never please all the people all the time, Kareem. And you see, you always talk terrific sense. I've never heard you talk anything that's not factual, and I've never heard you say anything that isn't an interesting point. Now, that's a pretty good recommendation from Scottie McCLUE with something like 40 years experience in mainstream media.
Thank you. That means a lot, Scottie.
Do you know?
I do try to think of something like, I remember the time when you were on Nation Radio, and when I used to phone in, I would at least try to have 2 types of questions every night, and just to start debate.
Yes.
And I think that chap yesterday who started the debate about the Margaret Thatcher start, I mean, that's what it's all about. People phoning in, putting across opinions, and people talking about it.
Yes, and I mean, there's Matey Boy saying, go for it, right in the centre of George Square. Here we got, geez, know him again, says Betty Joe. And then we've got, it's your show, Scottie, and it's up to you how long Kareem gets. Absolutely. You can't say fairer than that unless you can't pronounce your F's or TH's.
I would say, in terms of Margaret Thatcher, I sent you a video about that, what I was talking yesterday. And I watched some of the other videos. Now, I was too young to remember her. Obviously, I was a wee toddler.
Yes.
She was in charge. However, I think she came across as a very, very articulate, very well-spoken individual. And she has that presence. When she speaks to you, Scottie, when you look at her when she interviews you, she's talking sideways on. She's looking down at you. She's home. You have to home into her, so she's sucking you right in. And it's just the techniques that she used. It was all really interesting.
Yeah, she's very skilled. I mean, this lady, I think, had an honours degree in chemistry from Oxford University.
Right.
And then I think she did she went to the law and did a law degree.
Mm-hmm.
She was a very, very highly educated career woman.
She knew her stuff, and I felt like she was using a lot of the key buzzwords probably back in those days.
Yes.
It was enterprise this, enterprise that. Now, don't get me wrong, I think in terms of leadership, if you were to look at it with Conservative leaders now, compared to what she was, yes, she's miles ahead of them. However, what she did do to Scotland, I think, if you speak to a lot of the elder generation, they will never, ever forgive what she had done to Scotland and the lives that, she destroyed.
I think you're absolutely right. Kareem, you'll not believe this, but we're right out of time.
Sorry, I've been on here, but
no,
DINKY-DOO, Scottie.
Fantastic. Okay. God bless you. Join us tomorrow, please. Fantastic stuff. Night, night. There we are. That's our Kareem. Now, guys, I'm going to have to say bye-bye to the TikTokers. Thank you for being with us tonight. You are outstanding. And there it goes. Now, right, and I'm also going to have to say goodnight to all the beautiful people live here on the phone. And thank you so much for joining us. Tonight has been an absolute blast. From everybody here at the phone in, me, Scottie McCLUE, good night. God bless. DINKY-DOO. And ta-ra, lads. Join us tomorrow night at 10 o'clock sharp for the Saturday phone in.